Welcome to Why, brought to you by United Way of the Big Bend. I'm Bernice Cox. Today's guest has her family doing really good things as it relates to affordable housing. And if you've never heard about 3D printing a home, you're going to hear about it today. Please help me welcome Kyndra Light to our podcast. Joining us today is Kyndra Light. She is the CEO of Precision Building. Kyndra, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you on our podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Precision Building, we're going to talk a little bit later about not only are you a contractor and home builder, but you're also have experience in nonprofit and in education with leadership positions, and we'll talk more about that later. I'm just going to jump right into, at one point, I thought that the home that you and your husband built with 3D printing was the first one in Florida, only to find out that it's actually the first one to be built in the country. Share with us how you got into the 3D printing building and what that means for our community.
Yeah, so with 3D printing, it was kind of a long journey for us. Mm-hmm. So we started our construction company in 2007, and when we started the company, James was the contractor and the operating officer, and so he managed all of the day-to-day projects. And I actually managed our accounting and kind of managerial elements, but really was working in the community and in education, and mainly with women and girls at the Oasis Center for Women and Girls. And I was running a program for single mothers, and they would come in and we would have group counseling sessions, and the overwhelming feedback from single mothers in our community was lack of affordable housing. And this was 6-7 years ago when this was going on. And lack of affordable housing, how that led to issues with everything from food insecurity to lack of health care to even trafficking situations and sexual assault situations. And so I would go home at night and I would talk with James about, the housing situation. And he said, well, we own this construction company, so let's start looking into. So we started researching ideas for a less expensive way to build homes. And everything kept coming back to it was less expensive to build, but it wasn't resilient. So the first time a hurricane would hit or anything would happen, like we were scared about the structural integrity of what that would do. Plus, it was generally a mobile home, which was a depreciating asset and not a wealth building tool for a family. So we kind of went back to the drawing board and we saw this random YouTube video on 3D printing with concrete. And James was like, I think that's it. I think, and I was like, this is crazy. We're not getting into this. This is robots and construction. Nobody will ever go for it. And I mean, here we are, like after lots of research and trial and error and working with different members around the globe, we have completed this home. And, we have interior and exterior walls that are completed with a robotic 3D printer. And it's really exciting to see that we have these durable, resilient options out there that with scale and with training, I really do believe we can revolutionize the construction industry.
And I just think it's so, to open the mind up and to be able to embrace that, for you all to embrace that and to be the first one to actually embrace that in our country and particularly in Florida and then right here in our hometown is pretty amazing. I believe you've talked about internationally, there are some communities of 3D printed homes as we look at affordable and attainable housing. Share with us a little bit about that.
Right. So we work closely with a company called SIBA out of the Netherlands, and they have a corporation called LIVE, L-Y-V-E, and they are working to construct multifamily homes up to 4 stories tall, and those multifamily developments are constructed as co-op housing. So tenants have the ability to buy into the corporation. They have an affordable monthly payment, and when they are ready to leave and purchase their own home, they buy out and they have money for a down payment on their first home. So we're looking at innovative ways not only to construct buildings, but to structure the process of going from living in poverty or at the edge of poverty to finding attainable housing and then being able to purchase a home and build wealth for those families. And so it's not just about construction, it's about kind of a new way of looking at how families attain that construction, because generally when you're looking at technology, especially technology in construction, the most innovative solutions are only available to maybe the top 10% of buyers and
Right.
consumers in the industry. So we really, our goal in this, and the one thing we've really tried to stay true to over the years of this development is making sure that it remains for affordability.
And I can recall being a single mother, working 3 jobs, and was paying rent at the time, and was lucky to make the rent at the time, even with the three jobs, because they were, low income jobs that I had at the time. I thought owning my own home was just a dream, like how would I ever get there? And I know that we have so many single mothers, and with so many couples that feel that way now, and in our community. But it's not just in our community. We're seeing this nationwide. It's something that we're looking at. And thank you for even you and your husband for taking that opportunity to look at what could we do within our own construction company to be able to have an impact. One of the other things I really love about you is you have experience having served on or worked with a local council related to housing. Share with us about your experience with that.
Yeah, so I've served on several workshops and councils. I currently serve with the city's Affordable Housing Advisory Council, which is a wonderful council. We have publicly noticed meetings, and we meet about once a month to discuss initiatives that the city can we could recommend, and then the city could possibly adopt for making innovative solutions from the public side in affordable housing. So that's been a really wonderful experience in the sense that I've gotten to learn a little bit more about what resources are out there on the public side for affordable housing. And my main interest in serving on that council is looking at innovative ways that our business and nonprofit communities can connect with that, so that we can work collaboratively together to make our dollars go further.
And as you look at what we need to do, we have challenges in our community. I'm seeing some steps being taken. As you look at the needs that we have in our community related to housing and affordable housing, are we looking at a 5-10-year plan, a 20-year plan to get there? I mean, is that on the table now? What are some of the discussions that are on the table, or some of the items on the table related to that?
So I believe, on the website, we have the city of Tallahassee has a strategic plan for housing. There is a 3, 5, and 10-year plan that is available. I think they have it's a 5-year plan that is the most accessible. But there is some plans out there. They're doing procurement activities for private builders to be able to come in and bid on construction projects that the city is doing. And then they are also really trying to incentivize it from a planning and growth management perspective. So offering lots of incentives to builders as far as density bonuses and waiver of tap fees and different things like that, so that builders can meet those margins when it comes to affordable housing. So there are some great things that are being done, and it's really exciting to be able to look at best practices throughout the country and see what else we can do to adopt even more.
I would agree. I've been looking at some of those. As you may know, housing is one of the impact areas that we focus on, and we focus from making sure that there's emergency shelter for women, children, individuals, and families, to transitional living, to rental assistance, all the way to working with Big Bend Habitat for Humanity and funding them for that family to buy their first home. I think the city and county both have allotted property within our Leon County, the city of Tallahassee and Leon County, for some of those homes for Big Bend Habitat for Humanity, and that's a good partnership that we have. And there's opportunities for, I think, additional partnerships in our community, because it can't be addressed just by one group. As you well know, nothing in a community gets addressed by just one group. It's the partnerships through several areas, and I'm sure that's part of your discussion as well.
Right, absolutely. It's not, it's really not the job of the government to take care of the entire problem, and it shouldn't be. I think we all have a part to play. The United Way does an amazing job at addressing so many concerns throughout our community, and the business community too, absolutely, and the business community too. As employers and as stewards of our community, business leadership has a responsibility to address this and make sure that employees and families of employees are safely housed and well fed. I think it's just part of making a strong economic and safe, really, community.
And as you look at United Way, why United Way? Why do you think United Way is an important part of our community? Other than what you just said, what are some of the other ways that you think United Way resonates in our community?
So many things. The spectrum that you all serve is truly incredible, but really your focus on the Alice population, those people that are living right at the edge of poverty, that are one accident, one mishap away from being in poverty. Those are the people that are our unsung heroes throughout our community. They so often work 2-3 jobs and they go unseen, but really they have trouble making their ends meet every month. And I think that is something that you guys have done an incredible job of not only collecting data on, but working to serve, and really appreciate it.
Is there a reason personally that you feel a connection to the Alice population that you're willing to share?
Oh, well, sure. Well, personally, I grew up with a single mother until I was the age of 8. And, living in that population, it really just gives you a glimpse into kind of the day-to-day struggles. You're making too much to access government health care, or even, that wasn't even around when I was a kid, but government benefits, but not enough to make ends meet every month. And there's always something, right? There's a cavity or a flat tire, or
something comes up unexpected.
Right,
in the budget.
It's unexpected. And, for that population, it's not just, oh, well, we'll just take it out of savings. It's, well, I guess we don't eat this month, or if we do eat, it's going to be very scarce. And so, making sure that families have that safety net to really help them through those times. And I think that is one thing that the United Way does a really good job of doing. It's not just populations that need permanent assistance, but those families that just need that help through the 1 or 2 months, and then they can get back on their feet. And that creates a safety net that keeps so many families from tumbling into a snowbound of debt and other issues that lead to homelessness. It's just such an important asset for our community.
We're going to switch it up just a little bit now to get to know you a little better. Okay, a few fun little things. What is your favorite food?
Favorite food, Japanese.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Is there a favorite dish that you have?
Typically, I'm very plain about it. Just sushi and miso soup. But it's my favorite because I can't make it myself at home.
Right, sushi. So, yeah, I've tried that. I took a sushi making class. It was a disaster.
Same.
It didn't look like any sushi I'd ever eaten. It was just like, oh my gosh, it was a disaster. The folding and all that.
Yes, I did. We did the same thing. My son and I. We got this little kid, and we did it. And my son goes, "Mom, I think we'll just go to the restaurant."
Yeah, seriously, I think it's better. That's how I felt too. It's never going to happen at home.
Right.
If you didn't live in Tallahassee, where would you like to live?
Virginia. That's my home base, I guess you could call it. I grew up, my mom, when she got remarried, it was military family, so grew up in the Air Force, bouncing around the world, but Virginia's always been home base, and that's where family is, and the foothills of those mountains is just, it calls to my heart.
So I'm originally, you and I have had this conversation before, I'm originally from East Tennessee, and you notice I say East Tennessee, there's something about the pride there that goes with that. But it's absolutely beautiful country, and the surrounding mountains are just incredible. What is your favorite thing to do as far as a hobby? Is there 1 or 2 things that you really enjoy as a hobby?
Oh, wow. So I really love to read when I can. If I can find some quiet time to go, like if I can get through a book from cover to cover, that is just such it's such a thing that brings me joy. And, I don't have as many times for hobbies these days
I
with
understand.
4 kids, but I do.
I thought I was going to have to stretch you there to get that because I know how busy your life
Right,
is, especially
right.
with your work and your children and all that you do in the community.
But I do. I mean, I get so much joy from just being with my kids and being with people and serving in the community. And so, if I'm not working, then I'm either volunteering or at some sports event or watching a kid do something that brings me joy. So for now, that's my happy space.
Kyndra, thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for the work you do.